Hey guys, welcome to the next episode of the F122 My Team here on the ChesnoidPlays channel. Accidentally advanced to the Grand Prix weekend before I wanted to, before I started recording. So we're in Mexico, we're here already, and we're taking on the Mexican Grand Prix weekend today. Thankfully, fully dry on this occasion, so fingers crossed if we have pace, we're not going to be undone by wet conditions. It might get a little bit cooler midway through the race, but it's not really going to affect anything, is it? Really, a bit overcast, and then it will dry up. It will become sunnier as the race goes on. So fully dry Grand Prix. Hopefully we can be competitive. I need quite a few resource points still, but we're going to try and earn as many as we can. I might actually put fresh components in for qualifying and the race, completely fresh, or at least as fresh as I can be, so that we're as competitive as possible with the nature of that super long straight, where we're going to need top speed to be as competitive as possible. And obviously, you know what it's like with with straight line speed for the AI. So we might have our work cut out, but we'll try our best to finish as well as possible. We've had some lesser impressive results recently, while still actually performing and driving quite well. So fingers crossed we can get both to marry up together today, and we'll have a very good race weekend. As ever, drop the video a like, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and you won't miss out on any more either. Hopefully you saw yesterday's American Grand Prix, and hopefully you'll be with me moving forward as well. But for now, Mexico. Okay, so we're down on the quali-pace practice program, but that wasn't too bad. The custom setup's definitely quicker than the default one. I still feel like I've not quite got that rear stability, so I am going to put that back up to 18, which is where it was with the default setup, although we obviously are running slightly different front aero wings now. So let me then resave that as Mexico, and then I guess it's time to go straight to quali, because we've done all right there in the practice programs. We're happy enough with how we've gotten on. We've got purple in the race strategy and the time management, and obviously the quali pace one didn't quite go so well, but maybe I can use the quick practice to try and gain those back, provided this time it doesn't bug on me like it did last time I tried that. Sweet, I'm quite happy with that. That's gone really well. Retire position. We gained some extra resource points by doing that. Last time it bugged on me and it froze, wouldn't let me advance, but this time it's actually done it properly. So we've gained a little bit extra resource point wise there from doing that. We will change out to completely fresh engine parts. So good. Right, let's go to quali then. See what we get resource point wise from that and what we can do to try and protect from next year. 843 resource points from me there. 225 from Teo as well, which is great. Teo's actually heavily contributed there, which will come very much in handy. So between quali and the race, we will be able to protect 2, maybe 3 other parts of the car for next season, which will give us a good platform to build from in season 2. But right now, we need to give ourselves a good platform to have a race from, and that means going qualifying here in Mexico. Go slightly quicker with the second run in Q1, and it puts us P17. So we are out of qualifying in Q1. In the first of the elimination spots. P17's not bad. It's not amazing, but it's equally not bad. And with our tyre wear being supposedly as decent as it is, we might be able to be competitive from P17. With no rain expected, of course. How far off were we from the next? So about a 10th off Alex Albon. Again, I've got about 2 tenths on my teammate, 2.5. Right there with Zhou Guanyu. Alex Albon is just a 10th. We're only a couple of tenths off P13, really, and Pierre Gasly. So we're very competitive for the quality of the car in qualifying. Race pace has been a little bit harder to come by, but fingers crossed, on this occasion we can find some decent race pace. Right, we weren't involved in Q2 or 3, but I wonder if there are penalties elsewhere that might lead us to maybe start a little bit higher. Lando gets 2 poles in a row now. That McLaren is really performing in the hands of Lando Norris. Carlos Sainz P2, Verstappen and Ricciardo 3 and 4. So Leclerc's surely taken a penalty, as have both Mercedes, Alonso and then Russell in 8th. with his penalty. Leclerc 9th with his penalty. So Russell actually qualified ahead of Charles Leclerc. Ocon in P10. Vettel and Hamilton with his penalty. And then we qualified, what, 17th? But we start 13th with penalties to Mick Schumacher, who will start P16. And then other penalties for Kevin Magnussen and Yuki Tsunoda. So there are some faster cars behind us. Albon and Latifi, Gasly and Teo all taking penalties as well. But most of those back runners, the two Williams, Gasly and Porsche, we should be fast enough to try and hold our own for maybe a P14. So tyre wear wise, we don't think we can get actually any further on any of the tyres, but what I might do is go soft, soft, medium, soft. So that's what we'll do race strategy wise. It's a little bit longer, but it does allow us to be quicker at the end of the race. So it's fractional as the difference. And then 71 laps. It is going to be a bit of a gas guzzler, I imagine. So I'll put a lap and a half's worth of extra fuel in just to try and counter that, although we should be able to save a little bit of fuel if we need to at the end of the long straight. So fuel strategy decided. What is everyone else doing? Tyre strategy decided. Everybody on softs other than Charles Leclerc and again Valtteri Bottas, who's gone hard to start. So presumably there'll be one stopping. They'll take their hards 50 odd laps and then just go hard to medium. It may well be fantastic for them. It equally might not be. But we're starting P13 and we'll see what we can do from there. Lando on pole for the second Grand Prix in a row. No, we did qualify P13. Sorry, no, we actually started P10. We qualified P13 and started P10 in America, I think, yesterday, didn't we? But obviously with the rain, it threw our pace advantage out the window. Here, obviously we qualified P17, but we start P13. We're hoping with strategy and perhaps a little bit of luck, we might be able to finish around about where we're starting and take advantage of those penalties behind us. But we shall wait and see how things transpire. Obviously, down the main straight, it's going to be tough to keep up with everyone because the AI are strong in a straight line this year. But fingers crossed, it will come to us. And as we pull up in our grid slot in P13 in our lovely yellow car, as Teo's at the back again. Looking forward to getting a new teammate next season, have to be honest, that can then contribute a little bit more. So can we do anything from P13? Short light sequence. Lot of wheel spin. Lewis Hamilton got a good start. With P15 at the minute, using a lot of my battery here. Going to have to avoid Lance Stroll in front of me. We're braking nowish. No, not quite. Wasn't quite in tune with everyone else there. Hold it around the outside. Hopefully everyone gives us room, which they do not. So I had to take to the curb a little bit, but we're P16 then. Although look at the pace from Magnussen there. I'll try and stick up his inside though. Oh, everybody broke so very early for that corner and I wasn't ready for it. But we managed to hold our own. Can I sneak around the outside here as well? Yes, we can. Up to potentially P14. Leclerc down in P11 at the minute. So not a great start from him either. We're up to P15 now. I'm curious to know if Lance Stroll is going to have front wing damage, because we've seen a lot of Lance Stroll trains in the past couple of Grand Prix, haven't we, where he's been damaging his front wing needlessly in the beginning of races and then having loads of drivers kind of concertina up behind him. Leclerc went right over the curb there. He's well out of position. And those hard tyres are not working on that Ferrari at this early stage at all. We're back up to P14 after getting Sebastian Vettel there. We need a good exit here. And then we're going to need to use quite a bit of battery to maintain pace. Checo was in the pits there. So Sergio Perez, the only one pitting it seems. Oh no, there's a Haas in there as well. So a Haas and Checo pit. And we are P13. So we are where we started at the moment. Yeah, lap 14. We've got a bit of a run on Charles here. Forced him offline. So we might be able to sneak around the outside here. Brake later than him. At the inside line for the next turn. Still alongside me, but we've gotten it done. We've just seen off the Ferrari. See you later, Charles Leclerc, up into P12. But those hard tyres will come back to him later in the race. It is Alonso, actually, that's holding everyone up here. Just have a cheeky look up the inside of Zhou Guanyu. And we're up to P11. Alonso surely with damage here. There's no way he's going that slowly legitimately. Because everyone's all out of position here because Alonso's going so slowly. Zhou Guanyu's now alongside me. Lewis Hamilton too. Right in front of me. I'm going to get boxed in here, so I'm going to have to bait early. Sergio Perez is out of the race. Not only is Sergio Perez already pit once for damage, he is now out. Because his power unit, unfortunately for him, has decided it doesn't want to do the full race distance. So it's home Grand Prix. Sergio Perez is out of it. Zhou Guanyu has just caught himself on the outside there, so we've been able to hold him off. And we will still have DRS on Lewis Hamilton. Again, using my battery to my advantage to try and stick with those in front. Why Alonso hasn't pit yet, I'm not sure. He must have damage, surely. Can't see any, you know. Why he's going so slowly then, I'm not sure. But at the minute, Fernando Alonso has been a bit of a moving blockade for everyone. Zhou Guanyu and Vettel battling behind, which is costing them so much time that they've lost a full second just through that first couple of corners. Thank you very much, lads. Make my life more comfortable later in the Grand Prix if you can continue that for the next lap or so. You see, the longer I have DRS from those in front, the longer that gap to those behind will extend down the main straight and here. That is points right in front of us. It is points. And that's Valtteri Bottas with his hard tyres as well that is at the front of this little gaggle. But if we start to get held up again by a slower moving car, then that's going to allow those behind to catch back up, which isn't exactly what we want. We want to try and extend that gap behind as much as possible, whilst then trying to overtake those in front with some strategy if we can. I will try and undercut. So initially we were planning on stopping on lap 14, but I will probably stop on 13, or we'll gauge it by what everyone else does. If others stop on 12 or 11, then I might stop earlier, or I'll be forced to stop earlier, and we'll just run a little bit longer on the medium set later in the Grand Prix. But that's not a problem. They are closing behind again. I'm going to push Lewis offline, and I'm going to try and take Lewis Hamilton here. Keep it on the track. Give him some room on the curb. That's P10. I probably squeezed him a little bit too much there on the inside of that right-hander, but it's gotten us past him. Lewis now actually lost the position to Sebastian Vettel. Behind as well. I put him so much offline. Sorry, Lewis. Had a string of mid-teen finishes recently. 15th, 16th, 17th. In fact, I think we've probably had one of everything from 14th backwards, haven't we, recently? A 14th, a 15th, a 16th, 17th, and an 18th. But hoping for something slightly better today. Mick Schumacher having a look at Bottas again here. And again, they're just slowing each other up. Those in front of Bottas have just buggered off. But to be fair, we expected them to anyway. Although, actually, Esteban Ocon has clung to the back of that group much better than I would have anticipated he might well do. So fair play to Esteban Ocon for sticking with the Mercedes and the McLarens, etc. Tyres are definitely starting to complain a little bit though. Still no pit stops on lap 10. So not sure what other strategies other people are running at this stage. I think Seb's going to have DRS on me now. Probably, I would imagine. As you know, it's gained, the gap is opening up a little bit behind, so maybe not. Not quite. By the end of this lap, though, almost certainly. It's the Valtteri Bottas Express at the minute, isn't it? All this train. He's now just going to go from the four of us, stretch all the way back to Pierre bloody Gasly. It's just car after car after car after car. But this is what Bottas was planning on doing with that hard tyre, running his own race, slowing everyone else up and making it work in his favour. So he may well stand a chance of a good point scoring finish here, unless we all undercut him when we pit. At the minute, I'm thinking I might pit lap 12 and just try and undercut Bottas, Alonso and Schumacher if I can. I don't think anyone's planning on pitting yet. And indeed, no one has pulled off. So yeah, I'm probably going to pit this lap now then. Are we going to force Fernando defensive perhaps? Could I maybe dive up the inside, brake a little bit later? I'll try it. Up the inside of Fernando Alonso. He'll have the inside line for the next turn, but he's not got the pace. That is us up to P9. And like I say, planning then on boxing this lap. Going to get held up by these two in front, as they continue to hit each other. Right, caught up behind Valtteri Bottas there. Schumacher's finally passed him. Tyre wear is not that bad. So we will pit this lap then and try and undercut the two in front, provided they don't pit this lap as well. Well, Bottas definitely isn't. Mix continued on. So here goes the undercut then. Anyone else pitting behind me? Nobody. Perhaps slightly risky, but with fresh rubber, I'm hoping we can undercut those, because Bottas will continue to slow them all up. We might not be able to undercut Mick now, because he got past Bottas and will probably disappear into the distance and drive off. But, oh hello, Kevin. We've come out right with Kevin Magnussen, who must have pit at some point. Oh, he pit early doors, didn't he? For some new tyres, and presumably for a new front wing as well. So having DRS off the back of K-Mag hopefully will help us undercut. So I'm going to try and stick with Kevin here if I can. The Haas is actually one of the faster midfield cars, and with cold tyres here, I'm going to try and stick with him, but his tyres should be wearing actually. I'll try and catch him up though. There are some other cars in the pits now, as you can see on the mini-map. Ferrari and a McLaren, and a Mercedes and an Alpine as well by the looks of things. Alonso, it's Fernando Alonso that's in the pits. Now has this worked as a potential undercut to keep, well actually it's not an undercut because Fernando was behind us. We just took him on the lap before we pit, but certainly we have gained a time advantage on Alonso and Hamilton because they're back there now. So we're up into P19 and hopefully we can use that earlier pit stop to our advantage on a number of other cars too. Definitely going to have DRS off Kevin Magnussen now, which is great. And he's pitting too, which is kind of annoying because I might have liked the DRS for an extra lap or two, but never mind. K-Mag in the pits. And we will power on. Lap 15 now.
Okay, so the car ahead's
so it's Ocon's onto or into the pits. Russell is actually in P17. Has actually pit and come out, rather evidently, the Mercedes. But he's now getting held up. Teo's in the pits as well. In fact, there's a number of drivers that are in the pits there, so we should be making up a number of positions here. Lewis has now got DRS on me behind though, so I'm going to have to... Oh, fastest lap of the race so far, and then immediately Lewis Hamilton eclipses it behind me. But still, that shows the sort of pace we've got right now and how strong the undercut is going to be. So I think we definitely made the right decision doing what we did, pitting when we did. But now I'm going to have rather fast Mercedes behind me that I'm either got to try and hold off whilst losing as little time as possible, or when he inevitably overtakes me, I need to try and stick with him. Lewis is definitely going to get past me now. Not sure I'm going to fight it too hard down the straight. Some more in the pits. So we should be back into the points now. Once we blitz past this lot. And indeed we are up to P9. Try and lose as little time as possible getting overtaken. And then I'm going to try and stick with Lewis for the rest of the lap, although he's got DRS here. Yellow flag. What's that for? That's behind.
Okay, clear.
Who's going slowly? Is anyone going slowly? Here comes Alonso. Sebastian Vettel is out. Seb's retired. I'm in the middle of a bloody battle with Fernando Alonso, though. We've held him off, and now let's see what happened to Sebastian Vettel behind. Ah. The obvious. His Mercedes engine has done the same as Checo's Red Bull engine. It's gone... no. So Seb's retired. That's one less car to potentially overtake us from behind. The Aston Martin, although to be fair, the Aston Martin is probably the car, or one of the cars that we're on par with, or at very least not very far behind. And again, it seems everybody is stuck behind Valtteri Bottas. Whoa, what the hell? It's not happened on that curve before. Seems everybody is behind Valtteri Bottas in P13 and just kind of stuck there again at the minute as Bottas is still on those hard tyres. I could go to softs again next to try and again undercut, this time for time, on Fernando Alonso and Mick Schumacher. As Fernando had a look at me inside there, there's a little flag behind us, and Alpha Tauri's now going slowly. That's Pierre Gasly out of the session. Presumably, again, for an engine failure of some description. Let's have a look. It's Yuki. Yeah. His engine's gone as well. It's a car killer, apparently. The Hermanos Rodriguez. Number of people not able to...
You're approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums.
Number of people not able to do it. We're going to pit next lap. As Mick's having a look at Fernando here. If those two can battle each other for the next few laps, that would be great for me.
Okay,
Ricardo's in the pits. Hamilton's in the pits. Ricardo's gone to mediums. Alonso's pit behind me as well. I'll be curious to know what Lewis Hamilton's gone to. See, Lewis has gone soft, soft, soft. Ricardo's gone soft, soft, medium. So some are going soft, soft, medium, soft. There's no way surely Ricardo takes those mediums to the end of the Grand Prix from here. If he does, they'll be very, very, very slow. I mean, he might be able to do it. He'd give it a damn good go. They do go, what, 41 laps, was it? But it would be a really, really tall order. I think I picked this lap for softs. So from P8, we're going to pit for another set of soft tyres. And rather than run the alternate strategy that we thought we were going to, just to try and be as fast as everyone else as long as possible, we're going to go soft, 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 and then mediums to the end. I think it's just the best way to do it on this occasion, and running the alternate strategy isn't quite going to work for us. Really decent stop, 2.4 seconds. Alonso is coming now.
You only have to stop once now. One stop left.
Can we stay ahead of Alonso? I've used my battery here to try and stay ahead of him, and we have indeed managed to somehow just stay ahead of Fernando. Although I am now going to have cold tyres and he's going to have warm ones. He's going to be all over me, so we're going to have to defend for our lives. Get my temps up. But we've just been able to stay ahead of Alonso. Track position at the minute is in our favour. And I'll try and make my car as wide as possible, and Fernando shouldn't hopefully be able to pass me. He wasn't able to previously, and he's stuck behind me again. For whatever reason, that one lap on fresh tyres hasn't quite given Fernando the advantage he needed to jump in front of me. We'll see if Mick Schumacher pits this lap, if it's enough for him to get in front of Mick, but we're literally right next to each other, so it's going to be bloody close. Mick is not in this lap, I don't think. Or is that K-Mag? No, K-Mag's behind me, so yeah, Mick is not in this lap. Albon, however, is, as is Valtteri Bottas. So Bottas is going to his mediums now. They are going to try and take mediums that far then, are they? Wow. Going to try and take the mediums 41 laps from here. 42 laps from here. Mick's in the pits now. So we're going to take Mick. By staying out an extra couple of laps, he's cost himself position there, Mick Schumacher, and actually he's going to lose quite a bit of time on us. The gap to the two in front is closing, but I don't know whether it's because of their tyres or whether it's because there's so many cars there just stuck behind Zhou Guanyu. But a number of those have to pit for their second stop. So when they do, we should, in theory, just gain another clump of positions. Hopefully, anyway. Shouldn't be long before they do start to pit. This lap or next lap, I would have thought. Because they're all on softs, I'm pretty sure. There you go. They're all pitting together. All of them pitting together, other than Bottas and Ocon. So we're getting, what, 5 positions here? Up to P10. We're in the points again. Now then. Bottas and Ocon are right next to each other, and hopefully they will battle one another and cost each other time. Though our soft tyres are a couple of laps old now. They're still in single digits for wear, so fingers crossed we can close that gap in front now. Bottas evidently much faster than Ocon because he's gapped him by a second already. He pit after me. That's how slow the mediums are. He pit a lap later than me and is still being closed down. Yikes. And we are just pulling Alonso along with us at the minute, aren't we? Although, let's be honest, it's not like he's just hanging on to our DRS. Like, Alonso is genuinely faster than me. If he got past, we wouldn't be able to stick with him, I don't think. I am definitely holding Fernando up here. But doesn't bother me. It's working in our favour. We are fighting over one World Championship point at the minute. We're going to pit on lap 42 for our mediums. So in 10 laps time. Just under 4 seconds now to Ocon. Tyres are early 20s. Data showed that the medium tyres could run about 41 laps. And Ocon pit on lap 28, which would leave him 43 laps to complete on that set of mediums. So there is absolutely every chance he could long it out on those mediums and take them all the way to the end. There's definitely a chance of that. Fernando's really dropping. He might have some wing damage or maybe some floor damage. He did... Well, no, we left him plenty of racing room, didn't we, last time he came near us? Yeah, he's got some front wing damage, Fernando, on the inside of his left end plate. Now that isn't from hitting me, I don't think. We left him plenty of room and he didn't hit us, so I don't know where he's picked up that damage. Equally, the gap in front has been coming down quite considerably the past couple of laps as well. We did see in practice that our tyre wear was good and better than expected, so maybe we've just reached the point where Fernando's tyres are starting to drop off the edge and ours are just lasting that little bit longer. He might well have tapped my right rear last lap when he threw it up the inside, but I definitely left plenty of racing room. I didn't feel anything or see anything with regards to any contact. We have reeled Ocon in as well, under 3 seconds now. I don't know whether Alonso was already carrying that damage. The gap to Zhou Guanyu behind in P12 is 17.5 now. That's been growing as they've all been battling one another. Still just a big group of cars together, isn't there? Back there. Behind the Alfa Romeo. They're all just costing each other more and more time. So I think we're genuinely in with a shout of maybe getting a World Championship point or two today. Lewis Hamilton's in the pits now. So we're going to gain another position and go up to P9. He's coming out now on another set of medium tyres. Or on a set of medium tyres. I presume he's gone soft, medium. Indeed he has. We'll be pitting in 2 laps time. We're on lap 40 now. We're going to complete lap 40, complete lap 41, and then pit on lap 42. So just over 3 laps actually. And Alonso has pit from behind me, I've just noticed as well. So Alonso has given up the ghost trying to catch us. He's going to pit. We'll see if he changes his front wing actually. If he does, then definitely the wing was affecting him. If he doesn't, then it might genuinely have just been tyre wear. I don't think he did change his wing. It might genuinely have just been tyre wear. That was meaning that Fernando was dropping back. And indeed, he hasn't changed his front wing. Teo did have to stop and change his wing. That's a pain in the arse. But Fernando's not affected by that wing damage at all. Not enough to make it noticeable anyway. I think his tyres just went off the edge of the cliff. So he pit. That's why the gap opened up. Again, another example of why our tyre wear was just... Or it's a reflection in the race of what we saw in the practice session, that our tyre wear was pretty decent. I think we are about to hit the cliff edge ourselves because that gap to Ocon has kind of stabilised about 2.9 seconds now. But as we say, we're stopping in a couple of laps' time.
The car behind's just boxed for mediums.
George Russell's in the pits as well. And we're going to just take George here. He's coming out the pits behind us there. The 2 Mercedes are going to be next to each other. Russell onto mediums to the end, and that's what we're going to do next lap. Fastest lap of the race from Lewis as he's coming for me now. His tyres are up to temperature rather evidently, and he's all over me. So we will box this lap. There's not really much I can do against Lewis here. He is just too fast a car on brand new tyres, and he's just going to disappear. Still reckons we'll come out 12th, which is between... You see behind us on the minimap, Zhou Guanyu is there. He's got an AlphaTauri right behind him, and then there's a gap back to Mick Schumacher or K-Mag, whichever one it is. One of the Hasses. That's where we'll come out. Right, so we should come out in 12th, between Tsunoda and the Haas. Another very good pit stop. There they go. Is it Tsunoda or Schumacher? Sorry. Oh, Schumacher's actually pitting. So now it's Alonso again that's the one that's coming to try and catch us. But again, the undercut hasn't worked for Alonso. That's twice. He's pit earlier than us and not been able to get past via the pit stops. Although with cold tyres on me now, he's going to be bloody dangerous. We're down to P12. We're fighting with Fernando again. So Tsunoda and Mick Schumacher in front. Sorry, Zhou Guanyu and Tsunoda in front. We're on wearing softs at the minute. Tsunoda seemingly has a bit of pace because he's been able to take Zhou Guanyu and then drive away from him. But we're going to try and reel Zhou in. He may pit before we get to him, but certainly we are going to gain on that Alfa Romeo. He and Tsunoda do have a pit left to make, and we are going to the end on this set. That was my fastest lap of the race though, 1:19.4. We might, if everything goes to plan, we might get one World Championship point today. But I don't have anything other than brand new hards to go to if there's a safety car later in the race. Obviously if there's a safety car now, we'll just stay on our mediums. And that's going to be Lando Norris in P1 coming through to lap people. McLaren is quite the car at the minute, and that is Zhou Guanyu in the pits, unfortunately, or Tsunoda's in as well. Unfortunately, Zhou Guanyu was just out of DRS range through the detection point. So we are P10 then, and fighting for the rest of this race on lap 46 of 71 for a 1 World Championship point. Fernando has already spent 10 to 15 laps behind us, looking at the back of my car throughout this Grand Prix so far. And whilst we don't expect Ocon to pit again, he is going to be on really, really worn mediums. He stopped on lap 28 to go onto that set. So our tyres are significantly fresher than his by about 16 laps. So, no, 14 laps. So maybe that gap to Ocon will come down, but it might not come down quick enough for us to actually get to him. I would expect it to lessen between now and the end of the race because, quite frankly, we're on the same set of tyres and ours are 14 laps fresher. So, just by sheer obviousness of numbers and tyre wear, we should be faster than Esteban Ocon. But with 25 laps to go, including this one, as we cross the line, 25 laps to go, I don't think we're going to catch him by a second a lap to actually then have the chance of overtaking, but we'll try. Last time we got points about 7 races ago, 8 races ago maybe. We had a P7 in Canada, a P9 in Great Britain and a P9 in Austria, I think it was. So I don't think we've scored points since the Austrian Grand Prix. So I'm going to fight tooth and nail for this 1 World Championship point. I'll ask about Ocon, and we'll see if they reckon he's got a stop left or not.
17.2 seconds. They're on old mediums. Car ahead has some minor front wing damage, but it's currently maintaining its pace. Time last lap was a 1 minute 20.9.
So Ocon isn't stopping again, as we expected he wouldn't be, but he's carrying a little bit of front wing damage apparently. 22 laps to go, including this one, and the gap in front 16.5 now. It's coming down. It really is coming down. And his tyres are only going to get more and more worn. Eventually they'll hit the edge of the cliff because there's still such a long way to go.
Blue flag, blue flag.
Fernando not yet moved out of the way. He's going to do it now and let Lando through into this braking zone. Now I'm going to have to be really careful here how I let Lando through. So if I do it wrong, Fernando will have me as well. Thankfully, we've done it right, and Fernando hasn't had me. And if I can hang on to the back of Lando, we'll get some DRS as well. So that has gone really nicely. Thank you, Lando. We've still got ages until the next car comes through to try and lap us.
16.7 seconds.
Lando's just dominating right now. Managed to get himself a P3 in the last race, I think. But nobody's come close to him all weekend here. I do get DRS as well. Thank you, Lando. That didn't take long. Fernando's coming again. He's too far back. Not that's going to stop him having a go. He keeps thinking about it, Fernando, but because I'm able to manage my battery well enough headed onto the straight, I can just put myself out of range of him. If I lose my battery, I lose my point, basically. Because that's the only reason we're able to stay ahead of Fernando down the straight at the minute, is because of battery management. If I lose that battery management, or lose the ability to have that battery headed onto the straight, then I will lose this position. Gap behind us closed from 21 to 19. Fernando's going for it now. I won't even get the chance to try and hold it on the straight. Give him racing room. Again, he's backed out of it. Fernando is starting to find a little bit of a groove. And that gap in front has stabilised. I don't know whether it's me not driving very well or just having a bit of a dodgy lap, or what? We're gonna have to start saving fuel. No, we're not. No, we're not, because we're a lap ahead, aren't we? Or lap down, sorry. So we're only going to lap 70, not 71. Thankfully, Lando's lapped us. Otherwise, I'd have to fuel save at some point in the remainder of the race as well. Thanks for follow, Peepo. Welcome to the channel, mate. We are indeed doing a Fernando on Fernando. So my tyres are nearly 20% worn at the minute, which means Ocon, and we've been on this set for 13 laps, which means Ocon, when we came out of the pits, was on 20% wear on lap 42, meaning now his tyres are going to be nearly 40% worn, if not more so. And there's still 16 laps to go. Esteban Ocon, surely at some point, falls off the cliff. There has to be a point where his tyres just die. I'm praying that it comes sooner rather than later, because I am running out of battery here to defend from Fernando. Lando will be with Ocon soonish, so he'll lose some time there as well, which will allow me the potential to lose a place to Fernando and still gain a point if I'm able to take Esteban Ocon, which is the plan. At the current rate, I think we will catch Esteban Ocon before the end, but we have to maintain our pace. We have to hope that his tyres maintain their decline, because ours are just going to get more and more worn. But hopefully ours will continue to have that little bit extra pace than his, and we'll be alright to the end to get that point. Annoyingly, Lando's going to get him at the end of the straight, so he's not actually going to lose that much time. Solihull Moors are 4-1 up now. Though he has lost some. We're into single digits. 9.3 seconds. Gap to Fernando's opened up to 1.5. Our better tyre wear, more favourable tyre wear, is again playing into our hands. Under 9 seconds to Ocon now, with 12 laps to go, including this one. Although only 11 laps for us, as we're only going to lap 70, not 71, because we've been lapped by Lando. Fernando's back. I don't know whether he was charging his battery a bit or not, but he has really closed the gap. 6.8 seconds in front. I'm still concerned about Alonso behind, and have been for about 30 laps or more. Lap 64 of 71, although we're only doing 70, so I still need that gap to dramatically come down. We might not make it to Ocon. We might make it to him on our last lap. He's going to go for it up the inside, Fernando. He's gotten me. We are down to P11.
Try to stay with them. They might make a mistake and we could
out of the points. Now I really am desperate to try and catch Esteban Ocon. The two Alpines could work together here. Fernando could try and back me up the same way that I was backing him up. I need to stick with him. We've had one P11 already this season. I don't want another, but I think I might end up with one.
Blue flag.
Come on, Max. Come get me. Hurry up, please. Oh, man. I can't believe it. He backed off Alonso and must have fully charged his battery. He dropped to like 1.7 seconds behind, charged his battery, and then has gone for it. And it's worked wonders for him. And getting lapped by Max probably means we won't catch Ocon now. And I don't know as Max will catch Ocon either. So we'll get lapped by first and second place. Ocon won't get lapped by anyone other than Lando Norris. And getting lapped by Max and overtaken by Fernando will save Esteban Ocon. And unfortunately, I think we're going to be finishing P11 for the second time this season, which is pretty heartbreaking, TBH. Fernando's letting Max through down the straight. He's going to lose barely any time. Never mind. He's gone straight on into Max. Fernando Alonso is out of this race. What a moron. That's definitely a game thing, isn't it? Fernando is so far over to the right-hand side where he doesn't need to be. And then he just doesn't brake in time and clouts the back of the Red Bull. Cheers, Fernando. Correction, it wasn't Brendan Aronson that scored for Leeds. It was an Ait Nouri own goal. Thanks, Fernando. We'll take the points. Time very much. Well, I say points. Pointer singular. So we're not going to catch Esteban Ocon now. But we are still going to finish P10 ahead of one of the Alpines. Because Fernando fucked it. Cheers, pal. Max has just lapped Esteban, and the gap is 4.2 seconds. But unfortunately, we are now headed on to our last lap of this Mexican Grand Prix. So we are not going to catch the Alpine. It will be a single championship point for us, which was entirely unexpected at this stage of the season, given how our recent results have gone. But it is genuinely on pace as well. We've been lucky with Fernando's retirement, obviously. But outside of that, this is all us. Just as it was in Great Britain. Although I think actually at Silverstone we had a bit of a helping hand from a safety car. Similarly Austria, certainly Canada. But a single World Championship point to take us up to 13 for the season. With just 2 races to go in Brazil and Abu Dhabi, as Lando Norris wins his first Grand Prix. Congratulations, Lando. We are going to come through for a very, very, very decent P10, lads. P10. There you go. We have our thumbnail. And we have a World Championship point. P10, boys. That'll do very nicely indeed. And we earned that. We drove really hard for the majority of the Grand Prix. Held Fernando off for as long as we possibly could. I would have obviously liked to have kept Fernando at bay for the full Grand Prix. We weren't quite able to do it. But then we just lucked out because it's a video game. But at times things go for you, at times they go against you. But Lando P1, Max P2 and Carlos Sainz P3. Charles Leclerc will see his gap at the top of the World Championship drop. But only slightly as he finishes P4, I think. Indeed he does. Fastest lap Lewis with an 18.1. Lewis started 12th, finishes 5th. Fair play to him. We started P13 and we finish. We qualified P17, started P13, finished P10. That's one of arguably the best race of the year. Obviously not the most amount of points haul, but considering the forward momentum we made throughout the race, I think that might well be our best race of the season. Certainly it's the best race for ages. Absolutely. And with 2 rounds of the Formula 1 World Championship left to go here in this first season, we hopefully are going to look good. Give the chassis department a bit of a boost. Get team acclaim and then aero team building as well. 500 resource points too, so I should be able to do something else. Do I do drag reduction or do it? I'm going to do weight reduction actually. Let's do that first. 67 resource points remaining. Unfortunately, we have dropped to the bottom of the performance index. Williams have leapt above us as we approach Brazil. But we're preparing for next season now, aren't we? We're very nearly at the point of being able to add another sponsor as well, which is great. We've got 5 million in the bank, so the driver market is going to really come to us next year, I think. I hope. You never know. We may end up with someone like Nico Hulkenberg or David Coulthard as our secondary driver next season, who would probably put me to shame in the results, but we're looking great right now. We don't go up any further in the driver standings. We stay P15, and evidently we don't go up any further in the constructors either. We stay P9, but thrilled with that P10, and it really gives me a bit of a boost to say, you know what? We can compete given the right circumstances, even despite the fact that our car on paper is not that good. So, fingers crossed, in Brazil we can go, I was going to say even better, probably not even better, but hopefully we can perform at just the same sort of rate. Williams are going to just edge above us, so technically we should be finishing P21 and P22 in Brazil, but I'm determined not to. Drop the video a like if you've enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well so you don't miss out on any more, of course. And I will see you in a couple of days for another one.